cargo ship or try to flag the tits anyway? That's clearly a typo. Well, the Speechcraft again. This is great. Oh, I like Speechcraft. You wouldn't do a favor for a former member of the Royal Navy? I know full well that there's always empty places on these vessels. I'm sure you'd be so kind as to help me out. Ticket seller seems to be considering it. See this Pocky Barbellum. Was that supposed to be translated? I don't know. Can't do 2 tickets with a wink and a naval salute. We also just got an achievement. A comfortable journey. You have traveled on a luxury ship in an excellent cabin. So you do 2 tickets to the wink and a naval salute. You and Reginald walk carefully up the narrow, creaking gangway onto the ship's deck. Turning back to look at the docks, you have the strange feeling of seeing London as already in the distance. As if those tens of yards are already hundreds of miles. There are a series of shouts of sailors all around, and the ship sets sail for Rotterdam. A very helpful sailor accompanies you below deck to show you your berths. The Mary Rose II is a nice little ship that will allow for an agreeable and comfortable voyage. The sailor leaves you and Reginald in your new cabin. Thoughts on the disease? Why you wouldn't come with me? Yeah, why you wouldn't come with me? I want to know more about this guy. If you really need to know, I have 2 very good reasons to be here. Your friend smells warmly and grabs his stomach. This here wants to try some new food. I haven't had a proper adventure since I was a student at the university, and I don't know how much longer I'll be able to have them. Reginald laughs heartedly. You look at him, waiting to your second reason. Secondly, Jake, you don't seem to be in any sort of condition to deal with all this alone. I'm afraid you'd end up just doing something daft. That's a fair enough reason. Yeah, let's observe. Okay, everything's up to 4. Now let's get medicine up to 5 before we get the other 2 up. Alright. What are your thoughts on the disease? Seems to me from the symptoms that you've described to be a strain of plague with many, perhaps too many, incongruous details. It may well turn out to be a new type of bacterium, or perhaps something else. New theories are always emerging in our area of study. You nod your agreement. This is why it's important to speak with Bayerjanik. And we got experience, let's rest. Before getting some rest, let's eat some of this food brought by that uniformed girl just now. Reginald uncovered a big silver platter and released a cloud of wonderful smelling steam. For once you decide to join your gourmandishing companion in his repast before settling down into your comfortable bunk. Once more and for the whole trip, sleep refuses to treat you kindly. You can't stop thinking of Zanzibar, of Mayer and the disease. Every train of thought breeds new mysteries. You only hope that Bayerjanik can give you answers to the questions which are driving you mad. Opening your eyes, the first thing you see is Reginald. He is reading a book and chewing something. He smiles when he sees that you are awake. He is about to speak to you when there's a loud ringing. The ship is entering Rotterdam port. Oh, don't do that. Alright, we're in the Netherlands. The coach driver shouts something to you in a hard, Germanic accent. Then you look out of the carriage window. You are finally leaving Rotterdam behind, and after a while, you make out the first signs of the outskirts of Delft. Together with Reginald, you check the kitty. Having rather limited funds, you know you cannot afford to waste it, especially given that you don't know how long you will have to stay in Delft. You spend the whole day just looking for somewhere cheap to stay. Yeah, definitely somewhere very cheap. Or stay somewhere very cheap, you know what I mean. You walk quite a distance from the university, along the canal before you find a rundown place which meets your budget. Reginald expresses disappointment when he sees he must share one small room. There are probably rats. Probably. You two are dismayed and miss the comforts of London. But you're not here for fun, and your only concern should be to see Bayerzenik and to get on with your research. You unpack and organize the few things you brought with you, while Reginald takes care of the formalities related to your accommodation. You decide to go straight to university to try and see Bayerzenik. As you leave, you close the door behind you. It does not seem very solid. Having studied a map of Delft, you know that it's pretty straightforward to get to university from where you are staying. You walk a few streets and soon find yourself at the steps which lead up to the college. To announce your arrival, or for whereabouts. We don't want anyone to know we're here before we can talk to him. He shows you to the office of Dr. Martinus Bayerzenik. You're in such a state of agitation that you feel almost as if you are a teenager about to go on a first date. You knock and enter in the office. Professor Bayerzenik recognizes you and immediately recognizes you warmly. As soon as I heard your English accent, I knew who you were. The professor offers to give you a tour of the college, and you take the opportunity to see the laboratory where you'll be working together and exchanging ideas over the following days. Bayerzenik is friendly, but he's clearly avoiding talking about the reason why you are here. Professor Bayerzenik's quiescence continues to exasperate you over the days that follow. Every morning you make your way to the factory or to the laboratory, where you spend a few hours with him, or alone when he has lectures. You study various diseases and discuss theories together, without ever explicitly discussing that disease. We need to do something about it. Every time you bring it up, Bayerzenik immediately changes the subject. But since it is clear that much of the research that you're doing has many things in common with the African disease, you decide not to force the issue for now. Your time in Delft is fast beginning to follow routine. Reginald often comes with you to the laboratory, but most of the time he wanders around the city, enjoying its culinary traditions, about which he gives you enthusiastic nightly reports. Sometimes you go out with him to eat, but you often have a strange and unpleasant feeling that you are being watched. God, it's Mayor, isn't it? Something's really going on. My theory is a bioweapon. Reginald has persuaded you to go with them to a place which he maintains makes some of the best frikadeller in all of Delft. And in fact, some of the cheapest too. Your companion is clearly drawing your attention to the paucity of your finances. Your time at Delft is dragging out and your funds are rapidly dwindling. You again have the feeling of being watched, but when you look behind you there is nothing, or perhaps only a shadow. Then you notice someone sitting a few tables away dressed very stylishly. He is brazenly staring straight at you. Mayor. Confront or continue the meal. Let's confront this guy. You march over to where Mayor is sitting, ready to speak to him roughly, but he cuts you off. Dr. Huntington, what a pleasure. Will you join me for supper? Something that'd be rude to refuse. No, it's not. Screw this guy. I want to punch him. You sit down at the table with him. One see a few moments pass in silence. He is measured and calm. Seems to be toying with you. Yeah, he's clearly the bad guy. Dr. Huntington, we are satisfied with your decision to collaborate with Dr. Bejanik and the steady progress being made. Certain details, however, interest us in particular. I don't care. He's looking you straight in the eye. Smiling coolness portrays disquieting undertones, and every word seems to contain a veiled threat. Mayor again offers you money, nodding to a briefcase under the table. Think about it, Huntington. Indeed, you are seriously considering it. Nope, we're not doing it. The economic situation of Reginald is getting difficult. Accepting the money would mean improvement in your circumstances. But at what cost? Refuse. Again, we're not taking your money. Ever. You cannot buy us. Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that this offer does not come with a heavy cost of some kind, and as such, I am indisposed to accept it now, or at any time in the future. Achievement failed, I don't care. You politely take your leave of Mayor, go back to where Reginald is sitting. Boom. So I think that for now, I'm going to save my experience, and every time, and when we come to a decision that's important, we'll spend it. I think that makes sense. What was that all about? You make light of the incident. You tell him that it was only one of the men with whom you traveled to Africa, and this was the reason you felt obliged to say hello to when he had recognized you. Reginald returns to the subject of your finances. Deal with the question of money. Reginald, I know our financial situation is getting worse. Perhaps it is time to interrupt the research and resume in a few months after you've saved up some money. Not a chance. That would be wasting all the effort I've put into find a solution. Friends, an enigmatic phrase stops you midair, just as you're about to bite into one of your succulent Danish meatballs. You know I've been in the hog for the last few days. Well, I have to confess, it wasn't just for pleasure. I've taken a teaching job there, and I might add the wages do not compare unfavorably to London. You try to object to his arrangement, but Reginald insists. He lists his reasons: that you need money, that the research you're doing with Bejanik is groundbreaking, and that you shouldn't stop now, but it will give him something to do, and finally, that this is only a temporary thing, and he can stop at any time. As long as you're not speaking to anybody called Mayor. You acquiesce, smiling. You also concede that yes, these probably are the best fricadelle in all of Delft. A pathogenic agent, smaller than bacterium. The idea is disturbing, but the research you and Bejanik have been conducting on sick tobacco leaves continues to confirm the seemingly absurd hypothesis. Bejanik has the name already chosen for it, virus. See, I was kind of getting that that's what they were going for. That it's going to be a virus. Because of course it's one bacteria. But we don't even have cures for viruses today. So I don't know what's going to happen. It seems almost more like a machine in the way it reproduces, attacking cells and using them to multiply, than a biological organism. Many of the anomalous aspects that have troubled you since Zanzibar are beginning to make some sort of sense. Your research has come to a critical phase, and Bereznik is invigorated and beginning to show his emotion for the first time. 46 experience. I think the time has finally come for our discoveries made public, Dr. Huntington. The world of medicine will never be the same. Bereznik has started the process of publication, but it will take time before it is verified and peer-reviewed. You decide to use this time for a short break. You go to see Reginald and the Hog, tell him the latest news. That's fantastic, Jake. I get ready to leave this job and go back to London then. Considering the various arrangements, you agree to meet up in Delft in a few months. See, we didn't need Mayor's money. You have recently been taking long walks around Delft, trying to tell the results of your research with the pathology of the East African disease. Chief among your current concerns is resolving the question of the means of transmission and spread of this so-called virus. Despite spending time at the epicenter of this disease, you have had no symptoms, or at least the type that you observed there. Could this mean that this mysterious virus has a different effect on different people? Perhaps a single virus can even give rise to different diseases. I mean, they definitely can. That's for sure. As you are wandering near the cathedral, thinking about all the strands of the puzzle, you come across a small boy selling newspapers. Something catches your eye on the front page, so you buy a copy. You've only learned a few words and expressions in Dutch, so you can't really understand the article properly, but you do understand that this is an article about your and Bereznik's research. Skimming the article, you see it mentions the university, the professor, and some of his colleagues. There's no trace of your name, however. You bastard. It's certainly puzzling. Why would Bereznik have kept your name out of the reports? What motivation could he have had? It's very strange because you never have taken him for an opportunist. Why didn't you check that your name is going to be in there? God mayor to you. Then there's a question in Zanzibar. Since the moment you first arrived, professors continuously avoid the subject, despite using ideas and evidences gleaned from experiences. You haven't discussed it openly. Well, it's obvious that mayor's people have got to this guy. The colors of Delft soften as the shadows lengthen and the evening falls. As you walk back to your lodgings, you reflect on what your next move will be. You get to your lodgings, but when you go to open the door, you discover that it's already open. Could you have forgotten to close it? Going inside, you could not see any obvious signs of a briefcase. A briefcase? What? No. Of a break-in. Your briefcase where you left it, the padlock still in place. Nevertheless, you have an impression that things have moved. Is it only paranoia? You have no way to be sure. Collapse on the bed, seriously in need of rest. Tomorrow you will confront Bereznik. Opening your eyes, you are immediately filled with determination. You are going to confront Dr. Bereznik, find out exactly why he was compelled to do what he did. Please tell me a friend, well, I forget his name, isn't captured. You have breakfast quickly and consider what you will need to take to assert your position. Words. Research. Let's take a copy of the research. Just to be safe, but we might get attacked. We'll see.